Oh, it's deep, isn't it? Let me have a look. Oh, it's like an Aladdin's cave, isn't it?
It's funny, isn't it? It's a right mess, and having been at sea for a few weeks. Welcome to go and have a look. Sorry about the mess, it's just embarrassingly, it's just a dog bed.
It's really great.
And then we've got workshop in the front. I didn't realise, again, full of crap at the moment, but I didn't realise how much you need a workshop in a boat like this. Yeah, we've got a fairly big old leak to sort at the moment that's only showed its face in the last few days. It's a leaky old thing, as they all are, but gonna have to take it up a beach in the next few days and work out exactly where it's coming in from.
Blimey. It's a bit like a canal boat, isn't it, from the 30s?
Yeah, it's funny, but twice as wide, which is nice. It's 13 foot wide instead of 6, so you do end up with a lot more floor space than you do in an narrow boat. Not really any of the interiors original. Originally the deck would have been here, as I say. Decks always rot in a wooden boat because rainwater rots wood, whereas salt water preserves wood. So the hull of the boat is probably 80 or 90% original, whereas everything from here up is 30 years old and already on its last legs. I mean, there wouldn't have been a floor in as such. It would have just been net room and fish holds.
Right.
The aft cabin back here, which again is just our storage at the moment, that would have been a coal stove, 2 engines and 5 bunks.
Oh, really?
For the 5 crew, and they would go off the whole way around Britain and around Scotland fishing in the winter, all crammed into the back there, and this was just full of fish and nets. So yeah.
So what's it called again, the boat?
She's called Eileen.
No, the style of boat.
Oh, it's a Looe Lugger. So Lugger refers to the type of sailing rig it has, and Looe is the town it was from in Cornwall.
I know Lou.
So they built a few hundred of these over a couple of hundred years. This is one of the last ones in the 20s before they started making them only engine powered instead of sail.
So have you got an engine still?
Yeah, we've got a big engine, which is pretty nice when you are short-handed, not much crew.
Is it working?
Yes, yeah, we use it quite a lot. I mean, back in the day they had 5 people to sail them. Now if there's only 2 or 3 of us, it's nice to not have to spend hours trying to get to somewhere you can see. So yeah, big engine for when the winds are unfavourable. I mean, as we say, that's just
a pump, is it?
That's the bilge pump. I've just been having access up in there at the moment because, as I say, I've just been monitoring the water level more than usual because she's leaking a fair bit. They always leak these. They're only built to last 15 years, these boats, and then they weren't insurable. So then they were sold on to the highest bidder and so on until when this one was last fishing was in Plymouth in the late 70s, and then most of them were scrapped. This one somehow scraped by being in okay condition at that point, and then in the 80s people decided that that's when the classic boat scene really started and people started trying to save these things. So there was a few years where it was disused in the early 80s where it should have been scrapped. Luckily it wasn't.
It's not hardwood, is it? That's pine.
This is just pine floorboards underneath.
What's the hull?
The hull is originally pitch pine planking.
So pine again.
On oak frames.
Yeah.
You can't buy pitch pine anymore, so any repairs are done in larch or similar sort of softwood.
I mean,
there's so much that goes into it. The thing is, I mean, the cost prohibitive part of wooden boats these days is the cost. This is 42 foot and 25 tons. There's a boat that they've recently built in a yard in Cornwall that I work in, and it's 35 foot and about 15 tons, and it's cost £500,000 all in to have built, and it's 150 grand in wood. So if you want to build something like this, you'd be looking at over a couple of £100,000 just in materials for the hull and deck. But it's rustic, isn't it? I don't want a wooden yacht because I can't be there sanding and varnishing. It's not really my thing. Whereas this, you repair it with a chainsaw and some big hammers. It's an old fishing boat, isn't it?
And you can live on it.
Yeah, and it's big inside, isn't it?
It's not bad.
Well, for a boat of this size.
Do you have to pay to moor it up?
Well, that's a bit of a funny thing here. They kind of stopped any people that are poor living on the Dart a long time ago. So every time we come back here, it's always a bit of cat and mouse game about where we can stop. We paid our harbour dues and stuff, which allows you to anchor.
Yeah.
In Totnes, there is no way you're allowed to stop on a visiting yacht now other than a berth down there, which is 40 quid a night. So we're not technically meant to be here, but I think it's ridiculous that you're not allowed to be for a few days. Well, we'll see how long we're here before they tell us to move, but the excuse last time was that we were causing obstruction to the river, which is bollocks, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, funny old boat. Probably not been on another one like it. It's a bit different to a yacht, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Modern boat as the ballast underneath, you know, they have a big heavy piece of metal on the keel.
Yeah. Oh, it's got a big keel, is it?
Well, it's got a large keel, but a modern sailing boat or yacht has a metal ballast keel, as they call it.
Yeah, it's like a bullet on the bottom.
So when the wind tries and push you over, the keel always weighs more.
Oh yeah.
Old boats only have a wooden keel, and all of the ballast is this. So we've just got 10 tons of lead and iron under the floor. That's how they all were back in the day. Right. There is no metal whatsoever to the structure of the boat. It's all wood. So that's all your weight
that's
down
just
there.
just your weight.
Yeah, so it's just got iron here, and then a little bit further aft, it's all lead in there.
Lead. You could probably pay for the repairs if you sold the lead.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's probably 5 tons of lead, and it's a couple grand a ton at the moment, isn't it? But you know,
yes.
What they do back in the day, apparently, is if they had a particularly bad fishing season and were all skint, they could weigh in the ballast and you temporarily use rocks until they could afford to pay it back. So, not even that to buy back. We stuck this in at Christmas, this Rayburn, because we just had a little wood burner before.
Oh, alright.
That was, well, that's half a ton. That was fun getting it in here.
We'll get it lower down and like this ballast.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's below the water line's about here, so it's doing something. But yeah, I had to get that in. You lifting it with ropes off the masts out of the dinghy, dropped it in through the back, disassembled this and brought it through here. That was a bit of a palaver. But it's lovely having a Rayburn in a boat. You never thought of that.
Keep you warm.
Oh, it's been 20 degrees in here all winter. Kettle's always boiled. Oven's always on. It's lovely, isn't it? It's like a little cottage.
So you've got another job as well then?
Yeah, I'm an engineer, but just self-employed. Marine stuff at the moment mainly, but anything really. So that's what I've been doing.
Motors on boats?
Yeah, previously no, just agricultural and automotive stuff. But in the last couple of years, more boats. It's better paid really, isn't it, for the same thing?
Yeah.
So that's what I do down in Cornwall. That's what I'll be doing up here over the next couple of weeks. Anything to do with boats or horses is quadruple the price. You go to have a cushion upholstered for your house and it's a fiver. For a boat, it's 20 quid, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Well, and the rest. But you can avoid a lot of those excessive fees if you're not paying people to do it. It's the only way I can afford to have a boat of this age and size is by working on it ourselves, you know.
You're
to
going to
keep
get rid
something
of this one.
like this and to pay someone to maintain it will be tens of thousands of pounds a year, but you know, every evening after dinner I'm fiddling with something. So
Porthole.
What have you got?
yeah.
On the deck.
And a cat flap.
And a cat flap.
Yeah, we got a cat.
I like cats.
She's up on shore actually. She's been bound to the boat in Phillies for the last 3 weeks and she's off having an adventure in the town.
Will she come back?
Yeah, she's been back about half an hour ago, chased the dog around a bit and then disappeared again. I think she might be in the pub actually, pissing them off. She headed over that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, this is brilliant.
No, we're happy with her. It's loads of work, but it's fun, isn't it? Should have got a steel boat really. Then if it's got a hole in it, I can just weld it up and it's easy. Whereas this, I've got to learn a whole other trade to just try and...
What about fiberglass?
Well, that is the more logical option again, but I just don't like fiberglass boats. They're boring, aren't they?
Well, it patches holes up though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but again, it's just what you're used to, isn't it?
Yeah. I like wood.
Yeah, well, it's characterful, isn't it? And it's, I don't know, maybe sustainable or something, if that's your angle. I've always done sort of rudimentary woodwork and building things, that sort of stuff. But to do it to shipwright standard, a waterproof standard, in a traditional way is a skill that I'm now learning.
You don't do anything in MDF, do you?
No, it's all proper bits. So, I mean, there's lots of plywood in boat building these days, like the deck.
Yes, yeah.
There's planks over the... Normal, a traditional deck is just laid planks caulked in between. They always leak because the sun hits them and then water hits them, that's landed contract. So boats' decks have always leaked since the beginning of time. Now they lay plywood down first and then the planking.
Okay.
And then inevitably water does get into the plywood and then rot it. And here we are 30 years after this deck was laid and it's soft in places, needing replacement in others. You just got to patch it up as you go along.
Because you want to buy the proper marine pliers, an arm and a leg.
Well, I've just laid an area at the back around that hatch that I've replaced, and that was, I don't know, what was it? It was inch ply, and it was £290 plus VAT a sheet for marine stuff. I got away with half a sheet.
Oh, you didn't need much then?
No, just to go either side of that hatch, but yeah, it's serious money basically, plywood, isn't it? Well, all materials now. Say you want to replace one plank on the hull, it might be 25 foot long and 5 inches wide, but it's curved in 2 dimensions. So you end up having a piece of wood like that and twice as long. And that, again, the large majority of it ends up being waste. So unless you're doing a lot of work in one hit and can buy a lot of materials in one go, it does end up being expensive. You need to throw away most of what you just bought, doesn't it?
Oh, this is great. I envy you.